Cortana, all I need to know is, did we lose them?
I think we both know the answer to that.
Hello there. I know it's been a while since my last video, but I've been going through a lot of stuff recently. In the middle of all that stuff, I made a massive mistake that any longtime Halo fan can make. I watched the Halo TV series. But before I get into my thoughts and opinions about the TV series, if you like what I have to say and you like my content, please give that subscribe button a nice good old click. Before getting into the show, let me tell you a little bit about my personal history with Halo. See, being almost 30, I remember a time when Halo first came out and people were going nuts over this Xbox thing. Then a few years later, I finally was able to play Halo since my dad kept our house a strict Sony household, and I quickly fell in love with the franchise. Eventually, me and my friends discovered Halo Landfall, a live-action promo for Halo 3, and right then and there, I knew Halo would make a great movie and or TV show. Then this was later confirmed when I saw the live-action commercials for Halo ODST and for Halo Reach, with my personal favorite live-action trailer being the one for Halo ODST, which was able to tell a really emotional story with barely any dialogue in it. So when I heard that Paramount was going to make a TV series based off of Halo, I was pretty excited. Well, at first. Of course, I'll talk about what happened to my excitement later in the video at the appropriate time, but for now, let's just get started with the few positives that I do have for the show. Also, quick mention before I really get into the positives and the negatives about this show, I'm going to put up a slight spoiler warning. I'm not going to spoil the story, but I will be spoiling some scenes because I feel like they need to be talked about. So, the first thing on my short list of positives for the show, most of the action scenes I really enjoyed. In fact, there's a particular scene involving a hunter where the individual worms that form the main hunter body come apart to take out some Unsc soldiers that I really thought was really interesting, and I would love to see something like that incorporated into the actual Halo video games. I also really enjoyed the designs for the Covenant. I'm glad they were able to capture what the Covenant looked like from the games very well. And finally, I think they did a really fantastic job with the prop design for the Unsc troops. From the marine armor to their weapons to the warthogs, which honestly I really wish I could have a warthog in real life, is fantastic. And now I'm going to get into the many negatives I have about the Halo TV series. And I'm not just going to spend this whole section just being totally negative. I will say my complaints, but I'll also offer solutions on how to fix said complaints. Okay, so my first critique is the story. The story in the Halo TV series is just awful. It's generic. It's a generic science fiction story that you would see in any other science fiction TV show. And honestly, the best way to fix it is just to follow the games. They should have just followed Combat Evolved, the first Halo for the first season, Season 2, Halo 2, and then so on and so forth. You guys get what I'm saying. And they could have done what the Last of Us TV show did. Show the first game, but with more context. Hell, even have multiple points of view, since in the first game, Master Chief is alone most of the time. So you could have shown what Avery Johnson was doing. You could have shown what the Covenant were doing during the first game, but no, they didn't. They just decided to go with a generic science fiction story that you can see in almost any other science fiction show. So yeah, you fix that by just simply following the game. And the second critique I have is the writing of the actual show. Some people like to put writing and story together. I don't, because a mediocre or bad story can be saved somewhat with good writing. Unfortunately, that is not here. And one of the biggest problems with the writing is, well, one, they even said this in news articles, none of the writers actually played Halo. At most, they got like a 3-page brochure about some of the lore, but they never actually played the games or read any of the expanded universe books or anything like that. That's what the writing screams, that they have no real experience with the Halo franchise before this TV show. And you can really see this bad writing in the characters themselves. They are heavily mischaracterized in this TV show. Like, if you didn't know who Master Chief was, or Cortana was, or anything like that before going into this TV show, you are not going to learn who they are, because they get just about almost everything wrong with every single character in this TV show. And the writing really does show in how they wrote the characters, because every single character has been mischaracterized in every way, shape, and form from the games. It is extremely bad, especially with Master Chief. They messed him up so bad. And this is how bad they messed up Master Chief, one of the most iconic video game characters ever. My wife, who's never played a Halo game, who has only really watched me play, could easily tell that in the TV series, when she watched a few episodes with me, she could tell that that was not Master Chief. That is how bad the writing is in this TV show. And the best way to fix the writing is, first, have writers do their research for the show. The show is based off a video game. Have them play the video game at least before writing, so they at least understand the assignment. Because it just seems, the way they wrote these characters, that they thought they needed added more drama to Halo, which they didn't need to, because if they would have just followed the first game, they would have plenty of drama there, because the first game is essentially a fight for survival against the Covenant on this ring world, which would eventually lead to a fight against the Flood. So you could have had all sorts of different aspects to explore in the drama department. You could have had political drama with the Covenant. You could have had, human drama, like exploring humanity with Master Chief, since he spends most of his time alone with Cortana on Halo. You could have had, drama with survival with Avery Johnson, showing what him and the other Marines were doing when they weren't with the Master Chief on the Halo ring. Hell, they could have showed us how Avery escaped Halo before it blew up, but they didn't. They mischaracterized everyone to create fake drama that doesn't even work in the show. They also created side characters that did not work. They were completely forgettable. Like, I immediately forgot who they were until they said their names again. So that's how you fix the writing. Have them actually do research about what they're writing about before actually writing. Now, my third critique has to do with the actual Spartan armor. Like, in my positive section, I said the Unsc props and armor and all that were good, except for the Spartan armor. And here's my problem with it. They're all the same color, obviously, except for Master Chief. But Master Chief's armor color, it's a very dark green. So half the time I thought it was black to begin with. It was only in certain lighting that you could tell it was green. So for the most part, I could not tell which Spartan was which until they took their helmets off. And that's the main reason why the final action scene in the TV show I did not like, because I had no idea what was going on with each character. Because again, the final action scene is just the 4 Spartans up against Covenant forces, and I had no idea who was doing what in that scene, because their armor was so dark that I could not tell who was who in the fast cutting motion of the action scene. And want to know what could fix that problem extremely easily? The color. All they had to do was keep Master Chief's armor color the same as it was in the video game. The bright olive green, forest green type deal it was. I can't remember exactly what color green it is. But you look at Halo cover art for any of the games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if they wanted to keep like a quote-unquote realistic color palette for the rest of the Spartans, just look at Halo Reach. Halo Reach was able to have an emotional story while keeping the colors for the Spartans by having a saturated color palette. You could tell each Spartan apart by their colors alone, and yet it wasn't so like out of place in that more serious tone that they were going for in that game. So they could have easily pulled it off in the TV show, but yet they didn't even attempt, because besides the Master Chief, they were all black. That was it. How can you tell any of them apart when all the action is going? You couldn't. I couldn't. So that is a very easy fix for 2 complaints right there. Is have the armor for the Spartans be more color distinct. You can fix the problem that I had with the armor and my problem with the final action scene of the TV series right there. It's a 2-for-1 with that solution right there. And that is, I guess, my thoughts, my review about the Halo TV series for season 1, I guess. If there's a second season, if they haven't already announced it, I hope they fix a lot of these issues that I talked about. I'll be seeing you guys next time when we talk about how service guarantees citizenship.